everybody. So right before we got on here, Rena reminded me to smile before we went live because I'm having issues changing the images on the thing, and then she hung up and left the chat.
No, that's not exactly what happened. I tried to go to our list, which is a different tab, and I hit the close tab button accidentally. So, those 18-hour days are getting to me now.
Right, 18 hours. That's crazy, my darling. Crazy. But speaking of that, because you spend most of your time doing social media management besides websites and stuff, but socials like a specialty. And
Yeah.
so I dragged you on here today because it took dragging to talk about all the things you do to help us all out. I mean, I don't do social as much as you do, so I figure. And you went further. You actually talk about yearly things too, and we even talked about business things, guys. But let me ask you this, Rena. Yearly, how do you organize your clients? Then monthly, then weekly, then daily, then hourly, and go.
All right. Okay. Let's start with, okay, actually, it probably does make sense to start with yearly. So it's either yearly or when we onboard that we do all of this stuff. So onboard is obviously as needed. So yearly, what we do is we flesh out the content calendar. And what we do is we organize I call them buying cycles. You can call them whatever you like. I like to look at what's going on in the world. Is this client going to be someone that's going to add, winter holiday sales to their thing? Are they a retail person? Where does it go? Where are their buying cycles? Do they sell a lot in the summertime? Do they sell a lot in the wintertime, in the fall, back to school, whatever that is? So I write out all of the events, I call them events, in real time on one side of the list. Then I usually organize all the topics, pre-approved topics, and pre-approved sources. So generally clients will come to me. I don't always know their industry that well. So for example, they'll give me their partner list. They'll give me their supplier list. I'll ask for all of these things. I'll ask for, what types of content.
Yeah.
And that really, and you can go quite wide sometimes. Like, are we going to focus on, is it appropriate to focus on their client content? Like, do we, if they're a coach or a designer, then sometimes focusing on their client's content is the answer. And then case study. So I organize by topic, really, and source, topic and source. And then what we do is we figure out what our campaigns are going to be based on that. So
Wait, hold on.
if we,
Hold on.
yeah.
So hello, Richard and Greg. Okay, this is so interesting. Like, so you spend a lot of time with clients, then you must to figure this all
Oh,
out.
yes. Yes, definitely. I have a very thorough onboarding session, which includes a discovery session to figure out what the right package is for them. Then we have a more in-depth kickoff form where we figure out, how much of branding work have they already done, what kind of branding work they need to have done, what their voice is, what their visuals are, what they like, what they don't like, all of that sort of stuff. If it's not already established, sometimes it comes in a nice little branding pamphlet or booklet. Yeah, exactly. And that's really, really sweet. But not all clients do all the branding work at the beginning. Sometimes they just get a logo done, or sometimes they get a logo plus a few extra things. But they generally don't do voice unless they've got a really expensive package, or they have done some really good work later down in the evolution of their company. They'll come back to do a rebrand or a brand fix up or whatever you want to call it. They'll get into their brand when they start discovering that they actually don't know who their ideal client is, or they just don't know what their industry is, anything like that. So definitely lots of talking with a client, and then monthly meetings with them. Generally speaking, I've got some clients that just want me to roll with their stuff because they're hands off and they understand that marketing is a specialty and not somebody to give a to-do list to, and that's good. So I mean,
Sounds
I
like some
stuck that in
educating.
because it's super important.
Doesn't that sounds like you have to educate them because I mean,
Yeah.
how many business owners do you think, oh, I I just need a Facebook page and like I have my
Oh yeah,
website and then I just post and then the clients will come rolling in. Um,
yeah,
tis not the way.
yeah. No, so it is free advertising in a sense, but you actually have to put labor or money into the content production and the distribution. So it can be free, but I don't even recommend it. I always recommend, as you've heard me say a million times, less content, more distribution. And distribution is where the actual ad spend comes in. So for whatever reason, people are quite happy to pay people to write content for them or create imagery for them. I don't know why that is, but one piece of good content could go for 6 months nicely.
Interesting.
Um,
Tell me more
yeah.
about that for a second. Let's
Well,
so
really? Okay, because that's going to really deviate us
I
off
know,
of
I
our
know. We'll go
topic.
back. Guys, there is a
Yeah.
list,
So,
don't worry. But let's hear about this
yeah.
6 months worth
So,
of content.
yeah, well, I've done some testing over the years with some clients that will allow me or will set up their packages in such a way that I can actually test things really nicely. And I did this little stop motion video for this spa a few years ago now. And we probably put that out for 6 months on Facebook and on Google Ads, and the appointments just kept rolling in based on the fact that it was done well, and it went out to 60,000 people. Like if your posts are only getting in front of 125 people or 25 people. I have clients right now that will not pay for ad spend at all, and their post reach is only 7. And I'm like, why are you paying me for this? But okay, keep sending your check. But why are you paying me for this? This makes no sense at all. So it's much better to get a few pieces of really good evergreen content, and you can fill in between with some organic stuff that you don't push, but really you want to get those pieces that have um, that are evergreen and get them in front of as many people. Exhaust that audience, and the numbers will tell you when that audience gets exhausted.
But you're not
You know, so,
reposting the same thing.
no, I'm posting once, and I am sending out on ad spend.
Interesting, interesting. And that seems to
Yeah.
get clients for your
Oh
clients.
yeah, totally. I
Interesting.
mean, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for
Okay, so
sure.
let's go back here. In the day and the life of a social media marketing manager, uh, what do you do daily?
Right. Okay. So on a daily thing, so we've taken our content calendar, we've missed a few steps, but
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna go
just so
back.
that
We're gonna
everyone's
jump.
on board. Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, we take the real time, we create our campaigns, um, and then we create drip content that I call drip content or breadcrumbing content, whatever you want to call it. There are lots of words for it that educate a person before we want them to make the sale. So if we're going to feature a particular product come June 1st on our Facebook wall, we don't want to put it up and then tell them all the great things about it. We want to actually put out information that reminds them that they have a problem that needs solving beforehand, so
Mhm.
that we're educating them already. So for example, I got one client, it's going to be all about skin and sun. And so they've got a product line they're launching, and we're spending the next month or so putting out lots of really good information on what you want to look for when you're getting skincare, how you want to be out in the sun, what's good for you, what's not good for you, all that sort of stuff. Educate, and then hit them with the campaign, with the
Ah,
promotion.
isn't it funny? Because that's
So,
always been the way. Like, what is that? I mean, it used to be 5 to 7 touches, and now it's maybe 20 touches.
I've lost track on that stat, but yes, I was talking to someone the other day who said 14, and I'm like, oh wow, okay. So yeah, and that's exactly the point. If you put something up once and and no ad spend and you expect something to happen, then really you need to book a one-to-one with me because it's not going to happen. But yeah, so on a daily, what we do is I'm always scheduling in advance. So whatever I can schedule, I schedule. But there are a couple of places that you can't. Well, there are a couple places where you can't schedule. One is um, Google My Business. There is one
There's
new
two.
tool. Oh, two?
Well, there's the one you're talking about, I think, and there's also you can make your own with the Airtable. Um,
Yes, yes, I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that. I have not looked at Airtable yet. That's
it's
on my list.
it's
But
hard work.
yeah,
Hard work.
yeah. But if you haven't done that and you don't want to pay for the fancy tool that I'm hopefully going to pay for next, I think maybe next
Mm,
month or the month after,
yeah.
then what you want to do is you want to be making sure that you're doing the Google My Business posts. Now, I don't post on my client stuff every day. I post every second day. That's generally, or twice a week, something like that.
Mm,
And so on those days, I will go and, well, it's not me actually, but we will go and make that post manual and we will check our feed. First thing we do in the morning is check our feed, make sure everything that was supposed to get posted actually did, because sometimes there are glitches, and a second set of eyes on it just to make sure it looks good, that the preview actually fed properly and
yeah.
everything's right. And then while we're doing that, we're also checking the notifications, so we'll respond to anyone who has commented. And because most people are not paying for ad spend, you want to really make sure that you're getting that conversation going. You're not just liking their comment, because when you just like their comment, that ends it.
Mm,
But if you answer and ask another question in your answer, then that can go on forever and really help your organic reach. The other thing that's great that most people miss is thanking people for sharing their content. So if anyone has shared, and sometimes you can't do it because of their privacy settings, it'll just tell you that someone shared and you can't visit it. But in the notification, you can see public shares. And in those cases, I always go and thank people for the share, because that's going to leave them with a really good, feel good moment with your brand. And then the next thing that Facebook sometimes prompts you on is that if anyone has liked or left an emoji response on a reaction is what they're called, on your post, then and they don't like your page, you can invite them to like your page at
I
that
used to
point.
do that all the time. All the time. We do the same
Yeah,
thing with posting. It's a weekly thing though with us with Google My Business,
yeah.
because people have to pay us a lot more to post more than once a week. But we also add photos, so you're not adding photos for most social media unless maybe Instagram, because
I
each
am.
channel's different, right?
Yeah. I am. It really depends on the post and it depends on the client. So, the people that are struggling for engagement and are struggling for audience members, we usually post their photos. We take the photo and we create the photo. We do it the old fashioned way, where we actually post the photo with the link to the blog post in the status update, or it's a video, same thing. We upload the video directly. We make little videos for our blog posts sometimes for these clients, because they aren't getting very much traction, and um, they really do need an algorithmic bump. And Facebook does not give good algorithmic bump to external links. They want to keep
Yeah.
people inside the platform. So we do that. So that's that. So
I was.
yeah, so we do that.
Do you ever put a link in the comments instead?
I heard that that's not a good idea, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I don't. I would have thought it would be a good idea. Richard's actually saying he's willing to pay for content, and
Woohoo!
Greg says it surprises me when companies aren't social on their social. I think
Yeah.
people have this weird hang up about their business pages being social on those, right? It's like
Yep.
that's like the store
Yep.
window of the business. So
Yeah.
that it's a little uptight. That's why Facebook
Yeah.
groups are good.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree. I think that one of the biggest problems are small business owners who don't have a lot of business school, who feel maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome. So they try to be way more professional than they should be.
Mm,
And there are two kinds of social media marketing. One is branding, which the large companies do, and they do that. They stick to their brand messages and they only put information out unless they're actually engaging in the comment section. But there's this other thing called where we're actually trying to get leads. And that's where we want the client voice to come out. So social media is actually way more successful when it's less advertising, less business-like, and more like, I can imagine, Pip, that's you speaking, even if it's not you.
Yeah.
But you know
And
what I mean? But
I've told, it's funny that this is a problem because I've told lots of clients. The one thing that people I don't think recognize is that other people might want your life or to know about what you're doing in your life because they might want to do that. They might
yeah,
want to have your life. And it's not always a fancy car. Some people
no.
want chickens. Yeah, just saying, just saying. But like, I just think it's really because I've come across business owners and it's this has to be shared a certain way. And I'm like, oh my God,
No.
so many people would love to know more
Yes.
about what you're doing. Like,
Yes. So here's a really good example. There was one Christmas that Jade and I, where Jade used to work for me, we were going to put out a little Christmas newsletter. We wanted to take a photo. We put on our crazy little Christmas hats and we stood in front of the Christmas tree. And of course, we need someone to take the picture, and there's no one here. So we had set up this picture taking shenanigans, which is, it was a camera with a timer, and I had rolled my wheelie chair in front of us. I had put my yoga bolster on top of it, and then I carefully organized my camera on that, made sure it all lined up nicely so it was at the right level, and then I hit the thing and ran in front. And so sure, we got, people thought we were cute in our picture, but when I posted the how we did it photo with my iPhone, that picture was the one that got way more
oh,
reach and engagement and all sorts of things, because it's nice. People like to know how you did it. If you're faking it, they want to know how you faked it, and also how they how fun it can be, that you don't need to buy a whole bunch of fancy stuff like an expensive tripod. You can just kind of like, build up with whatever you've got,
yeah.
right?
And
And it works well.
5 years from, okay, if we looked 5 years back, now nobody go do this, but if we look at our stuff, we could probably find video we've done. It's going to be very different than it is today, right?
Oh
That
yeah.
So, as Greg's saying, I would say I'm professionally social. I don't know about that, Greg. But that's because I like to.
What are your numbers? What do your numbers tell you, Greg? That's what you got to figure out. Like, look at your numbers. Is it working? Then it's working. If it's not working, then shift it up. That's what I always say.
Right?
And everybody likes the reality television show version of your business. So yes, definitely hit people with your sales, calls to action for your sales things, but not all the time. You shouldn't be doing that anyways. And we don't all want to be educated for the other 80% of what needs to happen on websites and social. We want
Oh,
fun posts every now and again. And I'm tired of those inspirational memes. Oh my God, stop telling me how I should be doing this, that, or the other thing and feeling, you know? So
I
these other kinds of reality shows, like unpacking new shipments, fantastic. I always tell people that's the stuff to do.
Oh, interesting. That's so good. I tell people
Yeah.
like take pictures if you're like going somewhere. Take pictures of the bloody street sign. You know,
Yep.
it's if you're a real estate agent, for example, like or neighborhoods you go to, or there's so many
Yeah.
things. So okay, so we got some daily because guys, we went off the rails here talking about some
We
amazing
did.
things.
So back to the daily though, the other things that I do is I go to my page and I share my posts to my groups. So whichever groups I want to share, which are some that I actually own, some of them like are, Pip, your group, that group, our group, whatever you
Our
want to
group,
call
like our group.
it.
Come on
I
now.
know I have a hard time with ownership. And then, but then the other thing is like, what about all of the other groups that are on Facebook? So again, I think I mentioned this the other day with on a segment with Greg, is that keep track of all the groups where you are allowed to post, what days you're allowed to post, how you're allowed to post, and then make those posts happen, because sharing in a group can change your weekly reach from a couple hundred to a couple thousand really easily, depending on the audience.
I have a friend that has a Facebook group, and they did that, and they grew to like 6,000 strong,
Yeah,
really quickly, because they promoted that you can self promote in their group,
yeah,
which we do on weekends here. I think it clutters things, and I'd rather get to know people personally. um, through, texting, it
Yeah.
seems.
Oh, yes. And you definitely want to make it not spammy. I think that's why a lot of most groups will have some kind of guidelines as to what that looks like. Um, and either it's one thread where you list your promotion below in a comment. Sometimes it's a day of the week. Sometimes they only allow you to post certain things. So do that. When they say it can only be something that's of value with no sales pitch, write your blog post. Write your blog post on how you do things. Throw that in there. Write up a checklist. Throw that in there.
Interesting. So you're saying, write up a checklist for the post and then share it to these groups. Business owners should be doing this, or the people, because a lot of groups people can't join with businesses. So are you?
Oh yeah, no, I never join a group as a business. Rarely ever, because what I found is that even if you do get to post all of your business stuff with your business account, it's really informal. People like to know who they're speaking with. A group is a place for community. So how do you speak to a brand? You don't know if it's the same person you're talking to as last time or if it's someone different answering this time. I don't like that. And the tests that I've done show that they perform very, very poorly. So I always interact in those groups as myself. And the key is that on your little profile, Facebook profile, you need to have
You're the manager.
your page, yeah, your job description
Yeah.
with your page of where you're working.
Yeah,
And
that I need to update that. That is a really good point and a really good tip. Okay, so daily you're going and checking that things have been
yeah,
posted. You're
yeah,
um and then you're
checking, sharing, engaging.
okay, ooh, okay, so there are the three. And that's
Yeah.
what you're doing every day on every
Yes.
channel for a business?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Did you guys see that? Did you see that? That was sneaky, right? I muted myself. Uh, okay, so that's what you do daily, and that's so honestly, that's a lot. Like if you're
Yeah.
going to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, maybe even
Google My
YouTube,
Business,
Google My Business.
Instagram. Yeah.
This is why I like doing the SEO stuff a little more in the search stuff because it's like Google Ads or well, mind you, or Microsoft
Yeah.
Ads or and like
Yeah.
okay. So now, what
Yeah.
do you
It
do
takes
weekly?
Okay, so weekly are two things, two major things. Three major things. We create the content, we get approval for the content, and we schedule the content. That's what we do.
That's okay. And so, do you organize that at the beginning of the week or the end of the week for the next?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we've got a handful of clients at the moment that we do all this for. And how it works is this is my tip for agency owners. Some agency owners like to do things monthly or every 2 weeks, but you can't scale if you do it that way. I've discovered this. You cannot scale if you do it that way. That's why we are on a weekly cycle. So what we do is we spend Monday mornings. We've split the clients in half. We do half of the content production on Monday mornings and half of the content production social posts on Monday mornings, half the social posts on Tuesday mornings.
Okay.
Then Monday afternoon and Tuesday afternoons are for creating the e-blasts
Okay.
for the
Okay.
week, or any of that weirdo content that comes in that you can't plan for, like real estate agent videos. Open that, when something's listed,
Mhm.
that's got to go out. Like we do a 2-hour turnaround on those usually. And
Yeah, for sure. It's a fast
so
turnaround
some
for
of
those guys.
yeah, so sometimes that happens. So you need to have some room in your schedule for that. And then after that, so Monday and Tuesdays for getting the posts into the appropriate groups for the clients to approve. Then we get the client approval, and then we start scheduling on Thursday morning. And hopefully we can do all the scheduling on Thursday morning. Sometimes there's one or two things that the client is stalled on, or needs us to change or something like that. So there might be something that needs to be scheduled on Friday, but generally scheduling is done and complete on Wednesday and Thursday. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And
And
so
if I can get it down to all on Wednesday, I'm going to be so happy because that's my goal.
okay, that's a good goal. So are
Yeah.
you writing blog posts before you're creating the social content?
Yes. So the monthly list is meeting with the
How
client
easy is that? The flow, right, guys? That's why we went daily
monthly.
first. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So monthly is meeting with the client to make sure that we're still on target with what's going on inside their. Weekly is also checking in with the client to see if there's anything new or fun happening, and can we get a photo for it. So
Ooh. Do
that's
you
what we
have a
do.
do you have a templated email for that?
No, we do it all on on Facebook posts because we create groups for approval.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, so we do that, and then and actually templates don't work because business owners have their own priorities that they're bogged down with that are completely different than our priorities, and sometimes they don't think of what is a sociable moment. So what I ask for is what's on your books, what meetings are you having, who are you meeting, are you doing any shopping, are you doing any driving, are you doing any road trips, are you doing any external meetings, what are you doing?
Interesting.
And because there was one client once, oh, she was so great, I really miss her, but she was a coach for a wine vineyards, and I mean, what a fun job would that be? And she did a little Zoom meeting on her sailboat, and I'm like, dude, that is
Uh,
great content.
Great content,
Great
right? I
content.
did have a business owner say to me, "Well, I don't want to come across pompous,
No,
because I'm like, but your people are the people." He was a sailor too, and I said, "Your people are either people dreaming to sail or they're sailors, right? So
yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
be you, right?" Okay, so you were meeting with your clients monthly.
right. Monthly, yes, meeting with the clients monthly to make sure that the goals are still the same as the annual goals. This is where we make some changes because we like to be a little bit agile. You can't just write something and that's why I don't actually go really micro on the annual schedules like some agencies do, because we might know that we want to have a meme on this day, but we might not know what kind of day it's going to be. So I like them to be contextually relevant. So, and that goes with blog posts and everything else. So, of course, if you've built out your entire content calendar and organized for it in December of 2019, and then in 2020 COVID hits, then
Yeah.
your whole calendar's hooped, right? So this allows us to organize for lockdowns and not lockdowns and all that sort of stuff.
Well, this is where we have to realize, I think, that we have to be a bit more fluid um, in our processes and in our decision making, because things aren't, uh, we're not so sterile as to be able to do something that's just, I mean, unless you're maybe Nike and you have a team that's,
Yeah,
and you
totally
plan
different.
probably 5 years in advance if we're serious there,
Totally
right?
different.
And they're looking to win awards for the agency is looking to win awards for their advertisement, right?
That's right.
Whole
So
different
yes,
ballgame.
there's sort of two layers. Like your marketing plan and your business plan should be a really big it should have like bigger goals and bigger plans, and all of that stuff should be a little bit more fixed, but I still like things a little agile at that level too. But if you're a large company, then absolutely you can't just be willy-nilly, but your social media could be a little bit more
Fun.
flexible in terms of and I mean, honestly, if you look at some of the biggest brands on Twitter, like they're funny. They actually can take in what's happening in the world events, and they can organize for that and adopt according to what's going on. And that's what really gets them
Yeah.
a lot of reach and a lot of brand awareness.
I'm in so you guys all know that I got this VR thing and I'm crazy about it, and I'm in the group for the exercise game I play, and they are basing their marketing on um it's right now Asian Awareness Month. No, it's yes, and they did Women in History Month, and so each, and it's so brilliant because I am learning a lot more music, and I'm,
Yeah, yeah.
it's positive, it's educational, it's
Oh,
fun.
I know what I'm going to drop in. Then I'm going to drop in the comment section below. This is what I'm going to give everyone. I've started a public calendar that has all of those events, days, and everything in it. I've been crowdsourcing and amalgamating from all sorts of different sources. It's a Google Cal that you can subscribe to, so that at the beginning, and this is another beginning of the month thing, at the beginning of the month, we make sure that we've hit all of the main events that can be utilized for our clients. Like, for example, next week is Nat Med Week. What is it? Naturopathic Medicine Week across Canada. So it's an awareness campaign that we can, utilize for a number of our clients.
Which can bridge your values to your
Yes.
marketing, right? And you know what? Just blending that or braiding that into your marketing slightly will attract your people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which is way more fun. I need to say this because Richard's so great. Richard's saying wine vineyard. Can we get some samples? Speaking of which, I almost got to work with a wine vineyard, and they sent us some samples like literally this week. We did not get the deal, but we got some booze. So win-win. We're kind of busy anyway. Um, but okay, Rita, we're out of time. Out of time. But so, guys, did you hear, or y'all, did you guys hear what Rena's gonna give us? Okay. Um, I hope that's in the comments next week, guys. Next week it is. I say, guys, I'm sorry. That's non-gender specific. Okay. Um, but let me just say, next week it's the four of us. We're coming on here. We're doing our monthly chat about all that's happening in the digital space that we know about. So come with what you've learned, and we'll all share it together. We're gonna have the best time, and I hope you had fun today. Thanks for joining us. All right,
Thanks, guys.
bye.
Woo.
Bye.